Unless you were alive in 2002, I see no reason why you would have ever seen Eight-Legged Freaks. It's not a movie people talk about anymore, so I was very surprised when someone entered it into the Basement Brawl, and even more surprised when it won. Damn, Eight-Legged Freaks wins it. Taking a look at the box art, you'd probably think it's some cheesy, stupid movie about giant spiders, where the plot comes second to focus on funny spider gags. And well...
You're right, you're absolutely right. Bob?
But in this day and age, where we are bombarded with movies that pretend to be more intelligent than they are, movies that massively overstay their welcome by making us sit there for an hour longer than the movie needed to be, because every movie now has to be a 3-hour-long saga, don't you just crave a 95-minute movie that purely focuses on entertaining you and impressing you with neat production quality, rather than trying to impress you with the director's message on morality or whatever?
L3! Throwing grenades! We are sent here! I'm gonna flip your switch! Good luck finding it! L3! They don't even serve our kind here.
We need movies like Eight-Legged Freaks in our lives right now, and that's why we're here to talk about the 8 reasons to love Eight-Legged Freaks.
Get back, you eight-legged freak!
To give a basic plot summary, the semi-rural town of Prosperity is overrun by giant spiders because a barrel of toxic waste fell into the same lake that supplies a spider farm's food. So the town have to group together inside a shopping mall to defend themselves, and also find a way to kill the spiders.
Get ready. Get ready!
Oh yeah.
So like I say, nothing too imaginative plot-wise, but it really doesn't have to be, because this movie still has plenty of things to appreciate. Reason 1. The horror is an absolute blast. This movie does extremely well with showing a variety of cool ways that spiders can attack, by utilising the real-world hunting methods of various real-life spider species. With some exaggeration, of course. The jumping spiders make for a decent chase scene with some bikers being taken out, except for the main biker guy called Brett, who uses this stunt trick to kick his way out of trouble. My favourite type of attack, visually speaking, is how the orb weaver spiders attack. Like in this scene where it sneaks out from behind the old man's chair and starts wrapping him in web on the ceiling. Probably the grossest moment of horror is this guy as he unblocks the pipe with his mouth, only to find the blockage was a cluster of baby spiders. Yeah, it's pretty silly, but it's fun. Then we have the trapdoor spiders who invade an ostrich farm, which is more played for laughs than horror. But we get to see more trapdoor spider action with a less comedic tone, and back to more of a horror tone to show you how scary this concept is. And lastly, to give more variation, the big Chungus tarantula is slow and able to take down various barricades and hiding spots. Variation is the key word here. When making a horror that's limited by the age demographic of your target audience, you have a real challenge to keep the horror always feeling fresh. And in my opinion, no horror scene in Eight-Legged Freaks ever feels like a repeat of what came before it. Reason 2. The spiders and Nibbler from Futurama are voiced by the same guy. What do you mean spiders don't require a voice actor? Clearly you've never been close enough to a spider to hear it make little cartoonish goblin noises. And sometimes also lion noises for some reason. Next time you see a spider, invade its personal space by putting your ear next to its mouth, and you might just recognise the voice acting of Frank Welker, an incredibly talented guy whose resume of characters is mind-boggling.
Punishable by no less than 15 years in a maximum security prison.
No, we've got that lick too.
I already mentioned Nibbler, but he also voiced Optimus Prime. Correction, he voiced Megatron. The Lion Snarls in The Lion King. And a whole heap of cartoon characters who you might recognise. Going back to Eight-Legged Freaks, you might think that it lessens the immersion to have spiders doing silly, wacky cartoon noises, but it actually gives the spider some character, and it even adds some horror to the biggest spider, Consuela. 3. Teenagers in the noughties fell in love with Scarlett Johansson for the first time. I vividly remember Ashley Parker being one of my first movie character crushes, and she was a few years older than me, so it's not weird to say that. She was basically every teenage guy's idea of perfect in the early 2000s. She's pretty, but also she likes the same edgelord music as me. Oh my god. She does all the same kind of angsty teenager stuff, like being horrible to your parents for no good reason.
Mom, I'm not you, okay? I'm not gonna get pregnant at 16. I'm not gonna stay here for the rest of my life and be like a trailer trash sheriff, alright?
So it made her relatable for that reason. Also, it triggered off the nice guy part of your brain when she tases her boyfriend in the nutsack for pressuring her to do the big deed.
Don't you think you're overreacting a little bit? I was just copping a feel. Overreacting? God, you know, I can't believe my mom was right about you. Do you have any idea how embarrassing that is?
You can imagine a squeakier, younger version of my voice saying, "I would never treat you like that, my queen, my lady. I'm not old enough for a dirt bike yet, but you can stand on the pegs of my BMX my mum got me for Christmas, and we'll run away together." 4. David Arquette. David Arquette is one of those actors who you wouldn't expect to hear from again, like pretty much every other actor who stars in a B-movie monster flick. But David Arquette has managed to stick around all these years, almost forming a mini cult around him, where the internet still talk about him. This is in part due to his controversial wrestling career, and I know that kinda sounds like it's made up, but there is in fact a well-known and highly rated documentary called You Cannot Kill David Arquette.
It's the biggest disgrace in professional wrestling history.
David Arquette what's going on here?
An untrained Hollywood actor wins most prestigious championship.
In this movie, he's notable for his exaggerated facial expressions and yelling, but he makes for a decent protagonist with a reason to prove himself to the townsfolk and also his love interest.
Do you think we could, meet somewhere? Hook up. Not hook up.
I really hope we one day get a David Arquette resurgence. I would love to see this guy in a major role of a good movie, because I think he could pull off a crazed serial killer or something. Reason 5. The conspiracy nut serves a purpose in society. It would be easy to write off Harlan as the comedic relief conspiracy guy, whose only purpose in the movie was to have been right all along.
There's no way that you're telling me that thing back there is from Earth. All right, they're spiders from Mars. You happy? No.
But he actually serves quite a good purpose in this story. For some very odd reason, everyone in this town listens to his radio show.
Just because I'm paranoid doesn't mean people aren't following me. And all of a sudden there's a communication blackout.
Even the town diner tunes in, instead of playing some nice music to eat your lunch to. But due to this nonsensical popularity of his show, he is able to help broadcast the sheriff's warning, as she pleads for the community to band together in the Prosperity Mall.
We have a crisis situation on our hands. Our town is being overrun by giant spiders.
What the hell kind of bullshit is that?
Space aliens, you believe this you have a hard time with?
Reason 6. This movie looks amazing. I honestly forgot how classic this movie looks for the B-movie monster genre. Any scene involving the spiders is presented like a horror maze you'd find at a fun fair. Everything is dark and misty, with enough light to give off the creepy vibe. The first shot of the den mother spider Consuela is very brief but very effective. It's scenes like this where the darkness allows the CGI to look more believable, which I think balances out the dated CGI that can be seen in the broad daylight scenes. If anything, I would have preferred if the spiders only came out at night. My favourite locations are the mines, where the orb-weaver spiders store all of their victims in cocoons, and the Prosperity Mall, which has this ominous red glow on the outside, which matches the opening shot colorization, and inside the mall, everything has a neon glow to it. It looks like the standard gaming PCs we spend all day on now, but I've always been a fan of neon glow. It gives horror movies like this a dystopian yet somehow nostalgic feel to it. Reason 7. The Shopping Mall Showdown. Aside from the visual appeal of Prosperity Mall, it's a solid choice of a place to have the big fight between humans and spiders. There's hardware stores for arming up with a variety of silly and also practical weapons. There's places to hide for the old and useless folk. And the fact that areas of the mall can be gated off to gain an advantage back plays into this cool gross out scene. There's something about being in a shopping mall when you're not supposed to be that I find exhilarating. Like, if we were to be in a zombie apocalypse, I would be heading straight to a shopping mall. I feel like it's a place where you can easily lock yourself in, so you can just hang out in the food court all day long, eating whatever you want, and then you have an endless supply of clothes and also weapons. And the best part of it all, you don't have to pay for any of this, because the rules don't apply anymore, so shop away. Reason 8. There isn't an 8th reason, I just couldn't have it stop on 7 reasons because that doesn't look right. But this movie sits happily in my nostalgia bank and I hope I've been able to convince you to go watch it too. This is a good place for me to stop, because I don't want to give away every detail of this movie, just in case I have convinced you to go see it. Like I said at the start, it may just be a dumb giant spider movie, but if you're a fan of B movies and monster movies, or you think you might become a fan of those things, this really isn't a bad place to start, especially when it comes to spider movies, because trust me, there are a lot worse. I should know, I've seen Arachnoquake.
Now that is how you make jambalaya!
If you haven't seen it yet, I've started working on my coverage of The Walking Dead. Click here to watch it from the start.